Hi, welcome back to Corona Story Time. You might see Dave a little more than me for a little bit. I'm having some problems with my eyes and eye strain with all the video sessions I'm doing. But today I want to share another little portion from Get Your Life Back by John Eldredge. I'm going to be reading from chapter 2 on benevolent detachment. We are talking in this book about making room in our lives for God so that we might receive more of His wonderful self in us, and with that, the vibrancy, resiliency we crave as human beings. There are external ways we can do this, simple steps like the 1-minute pause, which is a free app that you can get online for your phone, which I really like. And there are internal ways we do this as well. To make room for God to fill the vessel of our soul, we have to begin moving out some of the unnecessary clutter that continually accumulates there, like the junk drawer in your kitchen. Everybody has a junk drawer, that black hole for car keys, pens, paper clips, gum, all the small flotsam and jetsam that accumulates over time. Our souls accumulate stuff too, pulling it in like a magnet. And so Augustine said, we must empty ourselves of all that fills us so that we may be filled with what we are empty of. Over time, I found no better practice to help clear out my cluttered soul than the practice of benevolent detachment. The ability to let it go, walk away, not so much physically, but emotionally and soulfully. Allow me to explain. We are aiming for release, turning over into the hands of God whatever is burdening us and leaving it there. So then I'm going to move to the end of the chapter where they talk about giving it a try. I know. You've got all sorts of pushback going on even as you read this. This sounds impossible. You don't know my world. But what about loving? What about caring? How is it right to just let things go? Quite simply, because you are not God. You can't save the world. You can't even carry it. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? That's from Luke 12:25-26. Jesus is quite serious about turning everything over to Him, actually. So let's repeat the invitation. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to make a real test. I'll show you how to make a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. So that's the Message translation for Matthew 11:28-30. And then cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. That's 1 Peter 5:7. Live carefree before God. He is most careful with you. And that's from the Message. These aren't suggestions. The Bible is not a book of suggestions. You've got to release the world. You've got to release people, crises, trauma, intrigue, all of it. There has to be something in your day or sometime in your day when you just let it all go. All the tragedy of the world, the heartbreak, the latest shooting, earthquake, the soul was never meant to endure this. The soul is finite. It's way too much. You cannot carry the sorrows of the world. Only God can do that. Only He is infinite. Somewhere, sometime in your day, you just got to release it. You've got to let it go. We need to make this clear. The invitation of God is an unburdened life. Come, you who are heavy laden. Cast your cares upon Him. Live carefree before God. It's practically a party invitation, one of the least understood disciplines of the spiritual life, and therefore a wonderful place of discovery for each of us and a truly liberating opportunity to experience more of God in our everyday experience. Benevolent detachment takes practice. The 1-minute pause is a good place to start. I give everyone and everything to you, God. I give everyone and everything to you. Often I find I need to follow this up with some specifics. I give my children to you, for I worry about them. I give that meeting to you. I give this book to you, As you do this, pay attention. Your soul will tell you whether or not you're actually releasing. If the moment after you pray, you find yourself mulling over the very thing you just released, you haven't really released it. Go back and repeat the process until it feels like you have. As you practice release, what you're doing is creating soul space. You are literally carving out the intellectual and emotional space for God to come in. If you build it, He will come. He wants to fill you. By the way, benevolent detachment is a gift to the people in your life. Far too often, we saddle people with our expectations, hopes, and needs too. Most of the time subconsciously, but we do it nevertheless. With our need to feel seen, with our need to be celebrated, to be understood. You actually do people an enormous favor when you practice benevolent detachment because they'd like to be disentangled from you too. You get to break free, dear ones, like a horse in open country. Isaiah 63:13. You get to break free.